supervisor of the jail operations. We've got about currently 13 corrections deputies that work in there, a records clerk, and a couple control board operators. We've got a couple positions. If you know anybody that needs a job, have them apply. So, what was the question that sorry, I was busy recording. What was the question I was going to answer?
Could you please expand on which another furlough or other furloughs that have recent furloughs that have been denied by the not by the sheriff's office but by the prosecuting attorney is what you said, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not going to talk about any specific case, but I can tell you what has happened. When someone comes in and they're having mental issues and they won't take care of themselves, a designated crisis responder is called. They're from mental health. That's their job. They come in and they talk to the person, they try to help them, and they evaluate them. And then they recommend that they go to a mental hospital or that they don't, or that we check on them every 5 minutes or every 15 minutes. Normally we check on the inmates every hour. But they can tell us this person really needs to be watched a little closer because of their interview with that person. Yes, sir.
Where are they from? Are those state people or county people that are doing this evaluation?
There's some from the state and some from the county. Yeah, most of them.
Do they come quickly, or do you have to wait a week or two? Or
it just depends on when it is. They're on call 24 hours a day.
Okay.
Yeah, we just call the crisis line and they send them. So there have been multiple instances. I've been in charge of the jail for a year. I've been in law enforcement for about 12. Been in charge of the jail for a year. There have been many instances since I've been here, and I was shocked when I first got here because I would go to the prosecutor and say that, mental health is saying that this person needs to go to a mental hospital for a higher level of care. We don't even have a nurse in the jail. So I'd go talk to the prosecutor, and the prosecutor's like, no, I do not give furloughs. If we give them a furlough, they go to that mental facility, they let them go and they commit a crime, then it's on me. I'm not giving furloughs. And I said, well, these are secure facilities. If the court order says that they will be returned to Klickitat County Jail once they're done with their treatment, then that's what we do. He absolutely refuses to give furloughs for people to go to get higher level treatment. That has happened multiple times. The most recent one, I had a DCR, a designated crisis responder, come to the jail because we called them and said this person needs to be looked at. And they came and they interviewed the person, they wrote out the report. I talked to them after they were done with the evaluation, and he said, I'm pretty sure I can get a bed for this person in the facility, but I need a furlough. I said, our prosecutor will not give furloughs. That's his standing order. And he said, well, we need to. And I looked at him and I said, will you walk over to the prosecutor's office, which is just a couple doors down from the sheriff's office? Will you walk over there with me to talk to him? Because maybe it'll have more weight than just me going there. You're a mental health professional. And by the way, he's been doing this for, I think, about 30 years. At first, he just stood there and looked at me and thought about it. And then he said, yes, I will. This person needs to go. And so we walked into Mr. Quinnell's office, and I introduced him, and he sat down and he began to explain what was going on. And Mr. Quinnell interrupted him a couple times, very forcefully. At one point said, don't threaten me. When the DCR said that, sir, if we do not let this person out, there's going to be a lot of liability. And that's when Mr. Quinnell said, don't you threaten me. And he said, sir, I am not threatening. He was very professional. He said, I'm not threatening you. I'm telling you the level of need for this person. And Mr. Quinnell, after a couple back and forth, said, I think we're done here. You guys can leave. And we did not get the furlough for that person. I have personally, in my law enforcement career, I got hundreds, probably 250 to 300 search warrants in my career. I was a narcotics detective, along with patrol and a chief of police. I've gotten a lot of search warrants, and a lot of those I've called in the middle of the night, woke the judge up, and said, Your Honor, I have an affidavit, I need a search warrant, and I need it now. Well, I had one instance where this person needed to go, and I called the judge directly, told him who I was and what my job was, and here's the facts, Your Honor, and we need a furlough. And he verbally gave me, just like they verbally approve a search warrant over the phone, he verbally gave me permission to take that person and turn them over to mental health and get them the higher level of care that they needed. And then the paperwork was taken care of the next day. And Mr. Quinnell met me in the hallway as I was going to court the next day. And he was not a happy person, but I don't care. The first job of the jail is to take care of the health and the welfare of inmates. And anytime that something goes wrong, and things go wrong in life, things go wrong in a jail, look at the jails all across this state. Some of them have multiple hangings. Even with on-staff medical, they still have issues. But anytime anything goes wrong, it is not good. But you have a few people in this county and in elected office that are using this to be an issue against Sheriff Songer.
Amen.
That is all this is. It is a 100% political. Not any of those people that are trying to shut down this jail have I seen come through our jail to look and see. Not before they announced, before they lobbed that hand grenade into everybody's life and said, we're closing the jail, you're out of a job. Before they did that, I didn't see them coming into the jail. I didn't see them coming over to talk about the situations in the jail, what they can do to improve it. None of that. And the people that stand up in the community and get on Facebook or come to town halls like this and spout off about what's going on in the jail have no clue. I welcome anyone to come to the jail and ask for a tour. Don't just show up because sometimes we're busy. Call ahead. I have no problem giving people tours of the jail. That facility is run top-notch with what we got to work with. The building is old, but it is sound. It's concrete and steel. The building is sound. There's the buildings and ground is in there repairing things all the time. Electrical problems, plumbing problems, leaks, things like that. They're very good at it. They've been doing it a long time. We've asked for a nurse, even a part-time nurse. Crickets. We don't have any money for that kind of thing. I have done multiple presentations to the county commissioners on biometric monitors. It's like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit that goes on the wrist of an inmate that sends a signal wirelessly to the control board when that person's oxygen levels drop below a certain level, when their pulse lowers or quickens. There's an alert on the screen, and deputies could go immediately to that cell and take care of that inmate. I have a grant from the Washington State Insurance Risk Pool for 7 of those. It's $24,000 and some dollars for 7 of those wrist monitors. I presented that to the county commissioners, and I got nothing but roadblocks. They paid 100% of that for the first year, but they just threw up roadblocks. So it's obvious to me, and I've only been here a year, but it's very obvious to me that at every avenue, what we try to do to improve the jail is blocked. Now there are some things, and I don't mean to ramble on here, Sheriff, but there are some things that we have done good in the jail. If you remember last summer, and I'll get back to the good things we've done. Remember last summer when we had an inmate hang himself in the jail. We had an unexpected death committee that investigated that after Skamania County deputy investigated that. The committee looks at all the facts, looks at the reports, what's that, sir?
Who's on the committee?
Our health director was on the committee. I was on the committee. The jail physician was on the committee. And Chief Civil Deputy was on the committee. So we reviewed everything, and we need to look at things that we can do to improve to make sure that that doesn't happen again. One of the biggest things to me was vent covers, because the person used the louvers in the jail vents to tie a sheet. That was the biggest recommendation as far as I was concerned, is replacing those vent covers with non-ligature vent covers. That was almost a year ago. Do you think that one was replaced? No, none. I sent an email a couple weeks ago. I said, it's almost been a year. Where are the new vent covers? And I haven't got a reply. So these are the kind of things that are going on.
Who is the person that you're not getting a reply from?
I'm not going to go into the details of that. But they were.
Come out of the sheriff department's budget, replacing the jail covers. So it should, why is it more than?
It would not be out of the sheriff's budget. So he'll have to. So I was going to touch on a few things that we have improved in the jail. You know, before I became a police officer, I worked 20-some years in construction, and I remember hearing about inmates in our local jail that had cable TV at the time. And that kind of upset me. It's like, why do we have cable TV for prisoners? They're in jail. They shouldn't be having that. I couldn't even afford cable TV at the time. And after becoming a police officer, I realized that when they're in jail, yes, they are prisoners. They are accused or have been convicted of a crime, but they're human beings. And if you can help them get through their 6 months or their 9 months or their 2 weeks stay in the jail and not be a problem for the corrections officers, you know, keep them slightly entertained, they can watch TV, there's less fights, there's less arguments, and there's less attacks on officers. So some things that I have improved since I've been in charge of the jail is we've got new TV enclosures that are non-ligature TV enclosures, and we've got some larger TV screens. Right now they've got like a 16 or 17 inch screen to watch in a whole cell block. Can't hardly see it. But we've got that through the inmate fund, which the inmates pay for when they order commissary and use the telephone. There's a fund where part of that money goes to. And it can be used for inmate things like that. So trying to get the vent covers fixed, trying to get the wrist monitors, those are things that we've been trying to work on, trying to get people to mental health facilities. Those are things we've tried to work on. And to the county commissioners, don't seem to like to do those things.